Just as you cannot stare directly at the sun without being overwhelmed, humans cannot fully comprehend God's infinite greatness. Instead, we can understand God indirectly through his works, much like observing the light and warmth of the sun rather than the sun itself. And I love that he said that, because I've quoted this before on the show. When we think that we can understand God, it really is like thinking you can look directly at the sun and comprehend what that is. And if you're willing to admit you could never do that, the sun is something God can hold in his hand and squash. He can flick it away. In fact, in the scriptures, it says he stopped it from moving at one point. Right? Think about that. The very God who hangs the stars, you can't look upon a star and understand it fully. We've been studying stars in the sky for a long time. And then if you just count the time of technology that we've had, a decent amount of time, and we barely can really fathom them. Right. We think we do with some mathematic equations, but we can't even get close enough to even understand it. And think about that, like compared to the God who created it. So if you cannot comprehend God, it's okay. I've seen a lot of Christians like that, JD, that's a hang up on them, because we are built to want to comprehend God. I think it's beautifully said in Ecclesiastes 3, I think it is. Is it 3? Yes. Also, he has put eternity into man's heart, yet so that he cannot find out what God has done from the beginning to the end. I take this when I hear this, when I read this, especially with the context of the book of Ecclesiastes, right? This idea of everything being vanity and just this focus on our purpose. God has put something in us. We seek him. People seek, maybe not seek him the right way. No one really seeks God, but we seek something. This is why people turn to, they'll say Christians are foolish, but then play with playing cards and say, I'm a Libra or I'm a Sagittarius, and because of that reason, I'm going to have a bad mood. And Saturn is in retrograde. And these people want to speak in tongues. They want to go out to the woods and have a spiritual retreat and get one with the trees. People are seeking something, but you don't have the ability to truly comprehend it. It truly is upsetting how easily the world is fooled into the occult and witchcraft, and even Christians. And because we make it look cute, we almost create our own terrible behaviors based on it as well. I used to fall for that too. Like, oh, I'm a Libra. I used to be proud of that too. Like, I used to be like, oh, that's the cool one, right? Like, that's the cool one compared to other. In your mind, everyone is the cool one because it's you. You're just a reason to lift self up. But it's seeking out an identity, because there's an identity of eternity in you. You were made in God's image. You know that there's an eternity connection to God. So we think that we should be elevating ourselves up. And this is what I really believe is why we see people seeking out this godlikeness, because that's what a lot of these things are. That a lot of these things are being like God. This is why the occult is so fascinating to people. I mean, and even with your horoscopes, it's predicting who you're going to be like for this day. God has placed eternity into man's heart. And we see in Romans 1 that we exchange the creator for his own creation. Since we're here, let's just stay here in this topic for a moment. What does he say? He says, for the wrath of God is revealed from heaven against all ungodliness and unrighteousness of men, who by their unrighteousness suppress the truth. It is by their unrighteousness they suppress the truth. You and I were there once. We wanted what the world gave us, so we suppressed this truth. Because the truth of Scripture is not a good truth. You're a wretched sinner. You don't actually deserve to stand next to God. You're not great. You're not holy. God does not look at you and say, look at my great human right here doing their best. No, you're an enemy of God. And we suppress that truth because no one wants to humbly come to it, because when you come to that, the truth is you deserve hell. Nobody wants to start there. They all want heaven. They want God's grace, but they don't want to admit that they need grace. They want to think they earned it. Then it says, for what can be known about God is plain to them. He put it in our heart and he showed all around us. But then it says, for his invisible attributes, namely his eternal power and divine nature, have been clearly perceived ever since the creation of the world in the things that have been made, so they are without excuses. So they are without excuse. For although they knew God, they did not honor him as God or give thanks to him, but they became futile in their thinking, and their foolish hearts were darkened. Claiming to be wise, they became fools and exchanged the glory of the immortal God for images resembling mortal man and birds and animals and creeping things. And you know what, JD? Even though I didn't think this was related to the Trinity, it is. Because God is not a man. And even though Jesus came in flesh, it makes people want to make him one like us, because you and I in the finite cannot be more than one. You and I cannot have more than one set of eyes, more than one set of thoughts. And we try to make God shaped like us, the creation. We exchange the glory of the immortal God for his creation. And that's why I love, although they knew God, they did not honor him as God. We could say that in a lot of ways. We could say that with the horoscope stuff. You know God, but you call God science, or you call God astrology. These people that call things the universe, you're speaking about God. You just don't give him his credit. You don't give him his name.